Hello there, fellow time travelers and comic book aficionados. Welcome back to Time Travel Comics. I want to thank you for watching my last video featuring Charlton Comics in the late 50s and the early 60s. It was a joy showing you the artwork from artists like Dick Giordano, Rocco Mastricerio, and of course Steve Ditko that worked on Spider-Man and Marvel. So I wanted to continue a little bit further with Space Adventures. One of the titles is very dear to me and one that I started collecting early for in Charlton. And I ordered in the mail 5 comic books from around the mid-run of the Space Adventures series. So I have right here a package that I want to unbox for everybody just to explore and see. Looking at the package, I'm a little skeptical already because it's in a thin USPS mailer and it feels a little bit light, so I hope there are no dents or dings in the comic book. Typically, when I look for it in the mail, I try to look for the Gemini mailer that's pretty thick and has some protection on the border right there. So let's stick around and look at the unboxing of some Charlton Comics Space Adventures right here. So I guess I'm going to start right here by pulling this tab, and we're going to see what we have. And oh, that's pretty good. We have some reinforcement inside. So I was a little worried because the books were in this very flexible packaging. So right here we have this nice wax finish because you never know if your package is out in the snow as winter is approaching or the rain if your comics are going to get soaked. So this is good. It looks like I could keep going here with the flap, just gently pulling away. And we have another cardboard there, so that's good. Another flap. Just going to be careful not to ruin the comic. And let me grab a scissors. My trusty scissors, I'm just going to go along the top here where I could use it as a margin so that I don't cut into the book. Just going to peel away and work on that. Some of the first unboxing videos that I ever watched on YouTube were with Captain Strangelove, and he would go a link to talk about the packaging and what to look for when a seller would ship the book. And he has great videos on his channel pointing out the best and proper way to package comics to sell. And this is nice and sealed because that'll keep the water out. I'm going to put the scissors away here. And there's a little bit of tape here. We could see the comics stacked on top. So there are going to be 5 issues, Space Adventures. And those 5 issues are issues 34 through 38 that feature Captain Atom, one of the heroes from Charlton Comics. And I'm excited to look and see what I have because all of them are Steve Ditko covers and artwork, and a real treat. And moving more tape aside and being very careful so that we don't rip or tug the backboards or cause any damage, now we could finally take a look at these books. Wow, truly amazing, very excited. I'm holding here to Captain Atom and kind of a rough copy. You can see the tape on the side, but nonetheless, Steve Ditko greatness with the Space Adventure logo. And we're going to go through these more in detail. I'm going to open them up for you and show you the inside, but just wanted to show you how it looked right out of the bag, right out of the packaging rather, showing the stories to come inside the book, including these covers right here. So hang on and look at this last one here. It's All Out Space Adventures. So let's check out the comics that we have. Space Adventures, this is issue number 34. This is actually the second appearance and story featuring Captain Atom, who was introduced in the issue before, issue 33 by Steve Ditko, where we have the character introduced. So now the further adventures are here, as well as 2 other side stories in the book. Space Adventures typically had 3, 4, or 5 stories, and this one was about a derelict spaceship that the explorers found, and you could see these aliens approaching them, as well as a planet that comes to life and devours space debris and unusual objects, and just fun, hokey sci-fi. But now we have Charlton introducing a hero, and we've seen Charlton Comics with Blue Beetle, for example, Captain Atom. So there's a very small line of heroes that Charlton produced among the variety of comics that they publish, from the horror genre to comedy to space adventures to even ghostly tales and haunt stories. So this is just one of the many genres and one of the few heroes that Charlton put out. And just love that Captain Atom right as we open up. And let's take a look at the second and third page in the folds here. And just great Steve Ditko artwork. Look at that. You have the hero there. You have the static electricity, nuclear fission glow about him. Just a lot of fun. A true telling of the atomic age and the silver age. And it's just great. I'm happy to have this in the collection. Just looking at this void to fill from issues 34 to 38, which featured Captain Atom, and now I have a few more books, so I can take some time and read the stories. Look at these panel by panel about how the astronaut in the capsule is reacting. He's kind of getting a little dizzy and unconscious, but Captain Atom saves him and brings the capsule to safety. So that's what it was about, these stories about space and wonder, and just a great book here. This is the derelict ship that they find. The aliens encounter them. Well, what a sight. Space is always about like darkness and discovery, and even the proportions. Either the rocket ships are very small or the aliens are very big. It's just fun to see the illustration that goes on. So this issue has a cutout. So this is a 1.0 grade. I'm really impressed with the seller on eBay. I was able to get all 5 books for just under $100 with a bid, but they had the issue number, the publication, the cost of the book, and the grade. So all the books that I'm going to show you have this informed label here. So that's Space Adventure number 34, and this is issue number 35. Again, Steve Ditko artwork, Captain Atom in full form. This story is about spies from another world, a side story. And then here, Captain Atom rescues a little boy that gets lost in space, and he's also riding a giant space bird. So in issue 35, we have little Billy Gosselin is trying to be returned to Earth as he gets lost, and we have Loga, the giant space bird. So cracking this open, this came out in August of 1960, and we have space at its finest. This is, what else is in here? This is about the space, I believe it's the space spies. That's who they are right here. So we're starting with this story with the space spies making their way on Earth, kind of going along with their machinery. Almost like Jack Kirby, some of the machinery there. So it's just kind of neat to see, just flipping the pages. We have here a holdup in the Enigma of Pluto, another side story. I know the captain likes the advertisements, toy soldiers that you can order, as well as a tank. And this looks very detailed tank, but it's actually made of cardboard. So that's neat. We have this another story. So this is the greatness in artwork of issue number 35. And look at this dashboard view of space. It looks like they're trying to attack a Martian ship, a flying saucer, and the title reads The Unexpected Visitor. So this is sci-fi, folks. This is from 1960, and another great Charlton book. Yeah, the grade of that last one was a 3.0, issue number 35. And continuing with the Captain Atom series, Space Adventure, issue number 36, you can see some tape stains right here, some amateur taping from probably, the tape is as old as the book, 30 years old or more. And this time Steve Ditko draws Captain Atom, and he's tasked with a job to test missiles that have seemed to be sabotage. And there's another story too on the Planet X. So now we're seeing a couple more stories of the hero, Captain Atom, a fun splash page. And we have the signature for Steve Ditko there. And it's fun to see not only spaceship, but U.S. airplanes and military planes trying to thwart off UFOs. I kind of get a kick out of that. It's kind of fun to see that. Look at the wonder here in that panel with Captain Atom whizzing around the ship. You can see the static electricity going through. Just more wonder. An advertisement for wrist radio. I remember my Dick Tracy walkie-talkie wrist. That was in 1989, 1990. Now this was even before that. This was advertised in October of 1960. Captain Atom lifting the car up. Just some fun artwork. Space adventure on Earth or in outer space. You have the Green Giant. Looks like that. And this issue here. So, Space Adventure number 36. And the fun in the series continues with more Captain Atom, right on the title, with issue number 37 that came out in December of 1960. So we already see a pattern from August to October to December, skipping every other month to bring us a new issue. And here we have Captain Atom investigating a missing satellite that finds its way to Venus. And of course, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, as we have female characters here equipped with space guns. So we're in for some action there. We have to be careful. But again, a nice Steve Ditko cover. What I like about his artwork is the detail and all the spaces left to be covered. So even here, we have this interesting creativeness of how to put the planet, the smoke, the beam mixed together with the spaceship and the glass of the rockets, rather, all kind of enclosed. And here we even have the signature of the artist himself. And as we turn the page, I always find the second and third page to have the most action and the most neat artwork. You can see the hero flying away from what looks to be Florida, Cape Canaveral maybe, as we see the Mexico and the peninsula here and Cuba. So, and he's even being pursued by rockets, unleashing a fury and a barrage of torpedoes and lasers, but that's not enough to stop Captain Atom. And, you know, as a kid, this is just fun to see, and just great panel by panel. You see that kind of nuclear emblem that really is a symbol for like nuclear power and atomic physics and electrons and neutrons and protons. Loving the clouds here, the saucers. So the interior of the book, even if you're not following the story, it's just artwork in of itself. And that's something I truly appreciate. You have the lettering here. And usually Joe Gill comes up with the story, Steve Ditko pencils it, John D'Agostino writes in the letters and sometimes does the artwork. And sometimes Bill Molno will do a side story. But in this age, in the 30s run, from 33 to 36 and 37, 38, we have Steve Ditko doing a lot of the great artwork there. And it is a beauty. Even this lady right there. And the final book in the unboxing is Space Adventures number 38. And this time we see 3 action-packed, thrill-filled stories of Captain Atom. In the other issues, it was 1 to 2, but now we have 3 of this Charlton hero. And this time trying to block and stop missiles heading to Earth from another alien ship or from another entity. We have the Captain Atom very busy at work here. So he can't be everywhere, but he uses his power to do his best, and also has to consult with the commanders and earthly presidents to get his assignment to stop these barrage of missiles. But at the time, too, we start to see an age where there's a threat of nuclear war, and it becomes more and more eminent in history. And speaking of history, we have the president to get a presidential ring. We have these rockets lined up. So definitely the coming of a new age that even persists today, unfortunately. But you can see how the artist and the comic freedom was able to create fantasy and stories about it. And I wish we did have a Captain Atom, somebody to defend our nation and also to defend the world from these terrible, terrible things. But as we could see, the stories take on a lot of adventure. You can see the artwork here. More space. This is a different one, Common Denominator. Probably illustrated by Bill Molno. That seems to be his style of artwork. Because Steve Ditko's, you can tell like from the eyes, Steve Ditko's had a little bit more detail and curvature in some more line work and shade here. But when you look at Bill Molno, it's a little more plain, not too embellished, and the negative space isn't filled in with too much contrast. But when you flip back a page, Bill Molno to Steve Ditko, both great artists, there's just a little more detail line work in there too. So then as we go through here, we're passing through, and the final story is also Steve Ditko, and there we have all that action again. Look at that. Wow. It's incredible. Just look at the movement, the colors. The Charltons are sometimes underestimated in terms of their offerings for heroes, but Captain Atom, pretty fun with the way the movement of the art is and the electrifying illusions they create for us as the viewer, and just great. Thank you for hanging around with me as we explored this unboxing of Space Adventures, and I hope you enjoyed the great artwork and just seeing the insides of the books and what they had to offer. Steve Ditko and Captain Atom was a nice, short-lived series and space adventure. It was also reprinted later in later volumes of this book as well. So if you have a hunch for Charlton or want to check out a new hero, I recommend Charlton Captain Atom. Just a lot of fun and just a fantasy world of science fiction and wonder. Thanks again for watching, and be well.